it's Sakuems here. So this video is going to be a new time lapse, and since I don't have a lot to say about the artwork itself, I figured I will maybe do something that I haven't done in a long time, which is a new Q&A, because I've asked people, I think it was on Instagram, like weeks and weeks ago, and I've collected a couple of questions, and I can't answer to all of them in one video because that will be really long, and so like I talk a lot, so I picked 10 questions, and so yeah, I hope that you find it interesting. But before I start with the questions, I still have a couple of things to say about the artwork. So this piece, as you see, basically I sketched like I haven't recorded that part. You only going to see the line art and then the coloring. And so I did what I usually do when I work with my watercolor background things, is I had a background laying around and I tried to find an idea to work on top. And so I didn't want to do a portrait because I always do portrait-oriented artwork. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a landscape, so just think about something. And I couldn't really picture anything as like looking at the artwork itself. But then I keep just rotating stuff and looking at it and staring at it, and I was like, hey, this does look like there's like some clouds or like a beach scene or something. And then thinking about that, I went ahead and started working like a portrait type of thing, but someone that was basically on an island of some sort. I didn't have anything really fancy in mind, and then I started sketching, but on computer. So I took a snapshot of my like background, and then I was on computer, I sketched everything, and then I had to retrace it by hand on my paper, because I usually have my sketches, like I print them on like a piece of paper, and then I trace or transfer whatever I might do. I transfer my own artwork on the actual paper, because sometimes I work only on like the actual drawing on the paper itself, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I'm a bit scared. So for this time around, that's what I did. I had to redo by hand, which took me a long time because I wanted to be very accurate and place everything depending on the background. So yeah, I guess it took a bit more time, but I was really happy with the design itself. And yeah, then I just did a line art and I did a coloring. And so this is a sunset type of scene. I didn't have to really I didn't really draw the sun, because I think that the lights itself and the way it's shaded in the background was enough. And there was no flowers, there was just the elf, but I just thought that was a little bit empty, and so I went and put more flowers. And I kind of want to practice a bit more, because I always do the same design so it's a little bit boring. But yeah, and then I did my go-to like type of coloring, like laying a bunch of watercolors and trying to do like type of like kind of like rainbow art, but very warm because of the sunset, And then I used copic markers, colored pencil, and I also did use like white gouache for the frame, basically all around the artwork, because I thought that was like looking kind of like postcard looking. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say for this piece. I don't have a lot. I kind of like how it turned out. What it reminds me of something quite funny is that when I look at her, I'm like, I think she kind of looks like bitchy. I don't know, her look, like, being like looking sideways and like being naked in front of the sea, and I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. But I want to practice more different type of emotions and expressions and characters, instead of just doing always the same type of pose. And so that was interesting, and I like how it turned out. It's not that super original, but I didn't have any other idea for the background itself, so I guess it was still fun. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't have a lot to say on this piece. So now I'm gonna jump into the Q&A. I might just do half of the questions because I already talked a lot. So yeah, let's just do half of the questions. So okay, so I don't remember who said what, so we'll see, but I'm just gonna read the questions and then answer to them. So someone asked me, which art supplies would you think is the best to buy for an artist with a limited budget? So I don't know exactly how much is your limited budget, but I didn't have anything fancy until I was about 16 to 17, and that was when I entered my graphic design school, so I had to buy a bunch of art supplies for school. But before that time, when you're a teenager or anything and you ask your parents for something, and I didn't have a lot, and the only thing that really got me, my mom bought me colored pencil, because a lot of the tools really that you may get, watercolors or paints or anything like that, it's kind of hard, to be honest, to work with. You need very good quality for paints, really. I think that cheap paints don't really work well, and cheap markers are really bad too. And so the only tool really that I think is really versatile and is quite good, even if you get a basic set, not a high-end type of or brand, anything like a medium quality tool, or even like Crayola pencil or Staedtler pencil, I highly recommend colored pencil. That's just one of the best coloring tool. But if you just want to practice and work your drawings and stuff, you just need like pencils. I think it's the best, either graphite or colored pencil, a paper pad, nothing really fancy, an eraser, and that's it. You can also work with pens, like ballpoint pens. There's an artist, I don't even remember his name, but some people are doing wonders with just like pens or highlighters or like a bunch of office supplies. Like, you don't need a lot. You just be, I guess, creative about how you can use the tool, and that will be like what I recommend personally. Yeah, that's the first thing I bought. That was my colored pencil, so I will recommend that. Next question, how did you go about selling your art and making it as an artist? I know it's difficult to put yourself out there, so how do you recommend promoting your artwork? So I want to make a whole video about this topic. I guess how you can transform your passion to a business or a job. But for this Q&A, I just want to say that I think it requires a couple of things. The first thing I think is to be aware that you may not make it. And I think it's kind of sad in a way, but if you're thinking about going into that direction and like making it as an artist, just don't think you're gonna make it. Just be aware that it might not work, because you will be discouraged really, really easily if you just keep thinking that it doesn't work, and then you get like in a very bad mindset. But usually it just takes time, and it depends on every people. But to be honest, I've been self-employed for 4 years, and I'm starting to make it, and people think that I've been making like it as an artist for years, but not really. It is a struggle every day. You question yourself, you have lots of work to do, you have to be committed, and you have to produce content, even though when you're a creative person, sometimes content just doesn't come easily. You have to push yourself a lot. And so promoting your artwork, to be honest, everywhere. If you can create a channel, a Facebook page, a DeviantArt, Instagram, Twitter, everything. But to make it, especially online, you need a big following. You have to tell people that you're here constantly, because there are, I think, millions of people who are trying to make it in this industry, like as an artist. Like, I'm doing artist as like large, but anyone doing artworks or visual arts, we are a lot. So if you don't show off yourself and your work, and then it's not going to work. And with the social media we have now, it is a little bit easier to reach out to people, but it's also harder because there's a lot more people trying to do that. And so I don't know exactly how it works, why it works for some and why it's not working for some, but just try to be everywhere, be smart, be consistent, share content, try to do popular stuff. Some people try to, I guess, build up a following by doing fan art or comics. Some people try to do like I don't know, like weird stuff or very intricate, or they do something that is quite I guess a little bit more engaged. It depends on the type of artwork, but that's just like some of the reason like how you could do that is just trying to. It is difficult to put yourself out there, but if you don't do it, it's not gonna bring you anything. And last tip, you have to be aware that a lot of people might like you and a lot of people might hate you, and that includes also people giving you harsh critics about your work, especially if you're transforming a passion into a work and you want to be a professional artist. That involves accepting critics and actually seeking for them so you can get better and learning from different artists. That's why I follow different artists, is because I learn little bits of things that I can incorporate in my own work, or from like different people, like because they have a different audience, or they have a different style, or they've been working for more years than me or less years than me, or they have amazing concepts and everything. You have to also be aware of what people do, and I guess all of those things will help you, making it. But in the end, it might still not work because it doesn't work for everyone. Sorry, it's kind of hard to say that, but it's true. So another question, I think I'm just gonna do a third one because this video is really long, and I'll just save all the other questions for another time. So last question, where do you get your inspiration from, and do you have any tips to get inspired? And so the majority of my inspiration comes from, I guess, fantasy, or I guess fairy pretty girls type of, I don't know, I call it like modern romanticism, which is like a little bit fancy, like for nothing. But I do love I don't have inspiration in terms of like themes, or it's a little bit tricky for me, but I do love certain artists, so I guess I'm just gonna talk about the artists that I look up to. I love Alphonse Mucha, I don't know how you say it. I love Audrey Kawasaki. I love Kelsey Beckett, if you don't know who she is. I will put a link in the description below. She does amazing paintings. It's just outstanding, breathtaking. I love Agnes Cecile. I love anyone who does very detailed female fantasy artwork with a lot of graphic design involved. That's just really nice to me. I love working with emotions and everything. And yeah, I guess that's just the majority of like what brings me, like, when I look at an artwork, I want to feel kind of mesmerized and captivated, and I just want to have some sort of peace, but also a little bit more intricate type of design. And I keep changing, like, my inspiration comes from that, but when I'm working on my concept, sometimes I feel like they're a little bit too boring, and I want to, I guess, evolved on that road, like really doing concept that just tells a story. I love to tell a story, and that's also why I want to do like graphic novels. Really, it's in my plan. But I guess my inspiration change also from time to time. It's different than what it was 2 years ago, and it's different than 1 year ago, and I'll probably change in a couple months. So, but basically, I'd say that I really like to work on the innocent beauty in the shapes and the beauty of shapes and everything. I do love nature, if you didn't know. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. It's really hard for me to describe my work. I feel like it's a little bit too, like, I don't know, it's gonna posh to be like, oh, this is like what I do. I don't really like, I like to just put it out there and let people decide what it means to them. And that's why I like open concepts a bit more, but I like to tell story too. So I guess that's just about it for now. So I hope that you'll find what I said interesting, and if you don't find it interesting, it's fine. But I think that will be it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll definitely do more Q&A. If you have more questions, just post a comment below and then add them to the next time I'll do a Q&A. And lastly, this artwork is available on my Etsy store as well as the print. And I'll also have the long version video process on my Patreon page. And I think that will be it. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.